you for joining me today. I am Jackie Horton, your virtual and wellness specialist. Today is Mental Health Monday. And so when I was thinking about a topic for today, I sort of kind of thought about couples and the work that I've been doing with couples. And one of the things that I think is helpful to talk about today for Mental Health Monday is about communication. So the way I started to sort of like craft my work with couples and how they communicate and how they have conversations, I taught them, or I tried to introduce to them, that conversations are dependent on the how-to quality of the individual person's communication as well as the receiver of the communication in order to address critical matters. Now, that's a lot of words, but I do think it does depend on your ability to know how to communicate in a quality format. So a lot of words, so let me just break that down to you. Issues that bring couples into therapy, as far as with my work, stems from finance, intimacy, health issues, future family plans, and other activities like parenting or, family functions that include the expanded family, family vacations. I like to ask couples to think about, those areas, because just those areas are the ones, they're all connected in some kind of way. And usually the outcome of a negative experience for both of them comes from the individual person and his or her ability to not have the skills to have quality communication in order to make sure that they've been heard, make sure that they also can go back and forth and reciprocate with their spouse or their companion or their significant other on these topics. So I'm a social worker, so I like to rate things. So I'm going to ask you to rate the things on a scale from 1 to 5. And the question that you're going to be rating is, do myself and my partner, my husband, my significant other, do we discuss these topics? And if so, what would we rate ourselves on how we go about discussing these topics? So 5 is very, very easy to be discussed. 4 is easy and smooth. 3 is rare, can be discussed, but with a little hesitation because the outcome may be unpredictable. 2 is rarely discussed or discussed only when there's some pressure from both or one of the persons in the couple. And then 1 is obviously never discussed, usually handled separately, a lot of avoidance and a lot of silence. So I kind of want you to take the time to rate yourselves and then share with your partner, your husband, your significant other, and see where he or she rates it. And so here's the outcome of that. If any of these topics are under 4, there's usually accusations, attacks, insensitive comments, or dismissal, or separating and isolating and sort of like operating individually as if they're not in a relationship, as if they're not married, and so forth. And any of the times that you have that, and it's kind of been chronic, and I do mean chronic means that it's more than a year or so, then obviously there's a third party could be useful in helping break through that. And you may say, well, how in the world are we going to get to want to see a third party like a therapist or a pastor or a couples counselor or a couples coach if we can't even talk about these different things that impact our family? I always use as a positive, and when you start couples work, is when you both are able to say, yeah, we can't do this. Our communication styles always leads us into a negative path. We need help. So that is the first step that we celebrate of you coming in to do some work. That is the first indication that I have is that we're about to start making some changes, meaning the changes that you want, and I'm here to help guide that as much as possible. So I hope this was helpful today. I hope you get an opportunity to do this rating, and I hope it gives you more information on what's next steps for you all so you can stay a couple that's blessed and prosperous. Thank you for joining me today, and see you the rest of this week. Mwah.